It's a horrible story this morning. An 11-year-old girl is dead, the subject of an Amber Alert last night. This morning, her father is in police custody, accused of the killing. Unbelievably, Peel police have had to deal with complaints from the public about this alert. We're going to go live now to the scene of where this young body was found. Police just updating us now.
So the reality is, and I'm going to just take you through the whole thing from the beginning, just so that we're all on the same page and everyone has the same information. Yesterday evening, shortly or around 7 o'clock, the mother did come to the 22 division where there were concerns for the well-being of her 11-year-old daughter, who was with her ex-boyfriend, or her father, right? So she's with her father. We did an extensive investigation in regards to where she could be, where they were, trying to locate the individuals. The Amber Alert did go out. We did obviously locate Raya. Unfortunately, she was deceased. And through the Amber Alert, however, we were able to locate the father. He was arrested in Orillia by OPP, and we then took over custody early this morning. So where we're at now is that he's obviously been transferred to our custody. We will be looking at different charges. However, at this level of investigation with the Homicide and Missing Person Bureau, they will have to meet with the Crown Attorney later this morning at some point when the Crown Attorney is available. We'll discuss what level of charges we'll actually be looking at that. So at this point, no formal charges have been laid because those discussions need to take place. So that is where we're at this point.
Can you talk about the information police have received that the father had plans to possibly harm himself and his child, how that information?
That information was actually given to the mother. She received information from him, relaying that information, which obviously set off her alarms of extreme concern, which is why she attended the division, saying, I have gotten information, and now I'm concerned for the well-being of my daughter, and obviously even him, like, what's his state of mind.
Was that information received before the Amber Alert was before 7 o'clock when
she came in with that information
before she reported her
That's
mistake.
Correct. So when she attended 22 division, she came with the information that she had received, that information from him saying that he may cause harm or some kind of concern for the well-being, because she came in already fully concerned, saying, this is what he's saying to me. I'm concerned for the well-being of my daughter. I need, obviously, some action. I need some help. And obviously, our investigators immediately took action right away.
Still 4 hours before the Amber Alert, though, what would happen in that time in between?
So during that time in between, we start looking at all available areas. Where do they normally hang out? We start looking at even pinging the cell phone of the individual, because that can give us a location as to where they're at. So we start checking all the history. We look at every area that they're usually known to go after, or any area that they might be in, because maybe it isn't what they think. We want to cover everything off, right? We don't want to leave anything unturned. Obviously, when we realize, we're not getting it, we're extremely concerned for their well-being, we fill out the form with OPP for the Amber Alert, and then the process goes from there. And obviously, we had the Amber Alert that did go out.
Was it the father who alerted police about the fact that her body was here, or was it during the investigation?
It was during the investigation that we came to that information.
Did you find the body before he was arrested?
Yes, she was located prior to his arrest.
Can you comment at all on that high-risk takedown?
No, that was done with OPP, so unfortunately I won't be able to comment to that.
Were they married or in the process of a divorce? What was their status?
Ex-boyfriend, so they weren't together anymore.
You know what school she attended? Are you able to say that yet?
No.
In terms of court appearance, because no charges have been laid, likely won't be today?
So obviously, if there's no charges laid, we wouldn't see a court appearance today. What we're looking at traditionally is about a 24-hour window.
And you're expected to be here at the scene for several days?
We'll be here until they're done processing it.
She at 22 division yet, or en route?
En route.
What is going on inside this area? You've seen people going in full protective gear. Can you talk about the investigation inside the home?
So what we want to remember is that we are looking at an active scene inside the residence, so our forensics have to go in there, process it. They'll be taking photographs, they'll be taking, pieces of evidence, everything they need to ensure that we get all the information about what occurred in that residence.
And just to confirm, was this his home? Was he just living in one part of the home? Did he own the house?
I don't know. I know he lived there. I don't know if I don't think he lived in the whole entire residence. But again, as I'm not 100% sure, I don't want to say that for sure. But he was staying in a portion of the residence.
And when it comes to the investigation for now, I mean the threats as well that were they made over the phone? Were they text messages? What was
I'm not sure of the nature. It's simply that she obviously had information that she felt was valid and shared it with us.
A lot of people were complaining. We saw a tweet from Constable Lucan saying that he received a lot of phone calls as well as some complaints from people who said that the Amber Alert woke them up. And I just want to get your thoughts.
You know, it's unfortunate, when an Amber Alert goes off in the sense of that it does disrupt people's, lifestyles if they're at home or if it wakes them up, because it can go off on the cell phones and everything. So I understand that, but at the same point, we're talking about a child that was missing, and in this case, the child was found deceased. So I think you have to weigh that out. Well, I appreciate where people come from, and I know this morning we still were getting calls that the Amber Alert was still going off at some point. We did automatically, as soon as we knew what was going on, we put in the form for the cancellation of the Amber Alert with OPP, and that's about all we can do. So again, I feel for everyone, but given the circumstances, I think it did lead to the arrest of the individual, so I think that's what we have to focus on.
Let's talk about the circumstances. This is particularly tough with a child involved. Officers, it's hitting the officers and first responders pretty hard as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we look at any incident, it can be very difficult, especially for those that arrive first on scene and have to see and help and assist however they can with everything. It can be very emotional for some, which is why we do have peer support and we do have counseling sessions available to all officers afterwards, and they are actually debriefed so that they can process what's going on. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, and you were just listening in from Peel Regional Police updating what had happened. The body of 11-year-old Riya Rej Kumar located at this Brampton residence. Her father, we're now learning, the ex-boyfriend of the mom who had custody of this young girl. Her body was located here through a police investigation. Father had this young girl, was supposed to bring her back to her mother, and when that didn't happen, mom received information from the father alluding to that he might harm her or harm himself. She reported to police. They unfortunately located her young body at that home in Brampton. We know that the father is now in transit to 22 Division. He will be heading to the courts. We don't know what charges are going to be laid just yet. The charges have not officially been laid. And, of course, there are a lot of questions when it comes to this Amber Alert and the process. But that's the very latest right from Peel Regional Police. Of course, we're going to continue to follow this story through the morning. Another update from Tammy Sutherland from the scene right after this.